way. And dear Heavenly Father, we pray that you will give us traveling grace to return home safely. Dear Heavenly Father, we pray that you will be in the midst of the meeting. Dear Heavenly Father, guide our minds and guide our thoughts. And at the end of the day, dear Heavenly Father, we pray that you will get the glory. Dear Heavenly Father, we pray for leaders on the national level, on the state level, and on the local level. Dear Heavenly Father, we pray for our military personnel that stands guard to our freedom. These and all other blessings we ask in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Sir Howard.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank all of you, our visitors, for being with us today. And with that in mind, we do have a public hearing related to the Center Grove Water Association. So, Mrs. Mensa, will you come forward, please?
Sure. Good evening.
Good evening.
In previous board meetings, we've discussed the possibility of the Oktibbeha County Board of Supervisors applying for a community development block grant on behalf of Center Grove Water Association. So moving forward with that, we are conducting a public hearing as required for the application. We've advertised once in a local paper, waited at least 14 days, but no more than 21 days. So my intent tonight is to inform John Q. Public of your intent. Once again, the state of Mississippi anticipates receiving approximately $25.5 million for this year's Community Development Block Grant application process. That is divided into two categories. The first one being economic development. The second one being public facilities. As I mentioned, only local units of government are eligible to apply. That would be towns, cities, and counties. Rural water associations are not eligible to apply, but as we've mentioned before, you are eligible to apply on their behalf. This is a highly competitive application process. Applications will be received the week of May the 17th through the 21st. They will be reviewed, rated, and ranked. They will take half of that $25.65 million and allocate approximately $12.5 for public facilities applications. And they will take the ones that scored the highest as far down as the funding will go. And typically that's somewhere between 25 and 30 applications statewide. Minimum threshold requirements are that at least 51% of the people benefiting from the project have to be of low to moderate income. And projects that score really high are water and sewer. And tonight we'll open the floor for any questions, any comments, and the board will be able to receive written comments on this particular project until March the 22nd. I've given you the abbreviated version, but I'm certainly available to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Well, we thank you very much. Certainly water is very important, and we certainly hope that Center Grove will be successful with acquiring that grant. First, do any of the board members have any comments that they would like to make? Board members, if not, would you please allow the general public to make comments?
Any comments? We do have representatives from Center Grove if anyone has any comments.
Well, we appreciate our board, what they do for our county, and when we pay taxes too, but this is different. But we thank y'all for helping us. We hope we get this grant. Without this grant, we can't put in whale, and we need a whale because the health department has told us we got too many on there. So we gotta do something. Thank you.
Okay, I've sent a sign-in sheet around. Has everyone put their John Henry? Okay.
Well, I'll just say while you're waiting on your sheet to come back around, we certainly appreciate all the effort that you put into trying to help us move this application grant forward. And we certainly appreciate Center Grove Water Association for being heavily involved. And like President Williams said, we pray that everything's successful.
Proposals for engineering services were received today, and they were reviewed by the selection committee, and it's the recommendation of the selection committee to select Wagner Engineering as the engineer of record for this project.
Do we need a motion for approval on that? Can I get a motion?
Engineer of record for the project.
Engineer
I
for the
move that
project.
we select Wagner Engineering as engineer for this Senator Water project.
Need a second? Second. Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Miller, that we approve the selection of Wagner Engineering for the Senegal Water Association grant. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
be back to
Thank
see you
you.
multiple times between now and the end of May. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to acknowledge the public hearings and no comments were?
You can, but I will come back the next board meeting with written minutes for you to accept.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
You're welcome. Thank you.
But just for the record, can we go ahead and acknowledge, motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Trainer, that we acknowledge public hearing with no comment with the Senegal Water Association. All in favor? Motion approved for vote.
Thank you.
Citizen comment section. Citizen comment, please come forward if anyone has a citizen that will have a comment to make. None. Seeing there is none, moving forward, the Unity Park Art Project. Unity Park Art Project.
Hey there. Good to see y'all again.
Hello. See you, Jacob.
Welcome.
We've been busy with the Unity Park, even though we do need to do a little bit of maintenance there. We've got some weeding and stuff and junk to take care of.
I want to talk about you when I walked in. I was talking about
But I heard it.
the courthouse
No,
compared to how nice
No.
the planners in the city have worked on. Look, the difference. So, not the Unity Park.
But I have been busy working on the proposal for y'all. I hope you've seen the enclosed package. What I have done is work in the studio doing a full-scale mock-up of the figures and seeing what group felt appropriate and memorable so that there is substance there when we're said and done. I did actively sort of steer our Unity Park Committee away from the mural design just because of painting on the new county building. I felt some tension in the room when that was even acknowledged, and in surveying the project going forward, just looking at how the landscaping itself, the trees there were going to block most of the views of anything like that. So looked at doing a public sculpture. The proposal you have before you is for a project I call Onward that would create at least 75 figures composed in a string to symbolize the march for civil rights and peace and unity. And as the end location for the Civil Rights March every year, I just felt like it was a great symbolism and still come together with all those faces of the figures pointing towards the wall that acknowledges the history and ongoing efforts of the community to work towards bettering bringing the community together. What I have is the same proposal, and I'll go down both sides, with one extra page. So it's open to the concept sketch and the work in the studios. The figures in clay are the 75 figures looking forward. That is the base proposal. And then just a little bit of the details, and then the sketch of the park. Of the group, we would remove one tree so that it is centered at Unity Park, facing the stage. And so there's a direct access of those pieces across from the stage. The sculpture would be placed on a base that matches the levels of the raised beds, and then the figures look forward at about eye level for 4 and 5 foot people. I look down on them a little bit. My work in the last week has been to make this mock-up and to go to Birmingham and to cast pieces in iron. So I have a prototype for you. If approved, I would keep working along these lines. There will be various figures. There is a graphite solution on them, so it may smudge your hands up just a little bit, but I tried to clean them up. But each piece would be unique to represent all the individuals in the community, just as for their role. Everybody has a stake in bringing the community together, and so each one will be different. I will use the process of producing these in wax, making molds and doing multiples. I will soften that and make each one different with the facial expressions, the postures, and that sort of thing. So each piece, once it's permanently installed, will be completely unique. And this maximizes our Arts Commission grant along with your matching funds at $8,600. And so that'll be a permanent installation with a little bit of a marquee just acknowledging the name of the work.
I'm just curious to keep people from trying to pull those things. How
I have 2 options for permanently attaching those.
I just see that as somebody trying to.
Sure. Well, and I've been making these for 20 years in clay, and I wanted a very permanent material.
Sure.
So I felt really secure with these being solid and sturdy. And we can embed a bolt or threaded rod so they can bolt from underneath and never be seen, or even welded in place.
I just wondered, because they take road signs down pretty easy, and those things are pretty hard to take down too.
Sure. No joints would be exposed unless they're welded in place.
Okay.
So, are there any questions?
I think that's a neat concept. They're looking up at the. I think that's neat.
Thank you.
What's the actual height of these?
These are representative of variations. So there may be some maybe twice that height. So up to 12 inches and down to say 6 or 7. So there'd be may make 10 and then make molds of those and then tweak those as they go through the process of going from wax into cast iron.
I think that will make people look and say, what are they looking at? I mean, I think it's just something else to draw attention to the. I think it's good.
And the idea of pulling that focus back to the history
yes.
and the legacy of the park and the efforts for
and the expressions
equity.
on their face, it makes you
Yeah.
With that.
So I'm asked a lot about, hey, what are they looking at, or what are they looking for? And I think for is the better
right.
question.
But the way that you're placing them in this drawing, you could say that they're looking. They're definitely looking at them.
They are focused at the goal.
Right.
And so I think the park does a good job on creating that center.
Have you thought much about how many figures you would install?
For our project with the grant, there'd be at least an initial installment of 75. So, and there's potential to expand that a bit in the future as well. So,
I like the fact that it seems that it's going to be something unique. Also, it seems like it's going to be diverse, and that has always been the original concept of the Unity Park. It's to have a diverse group of people that has come together to create unity in our Tiburon County. So I think that's going to actually add another special touch to the Unity Park.
well, and I come to y'all for any feedback as far as how it reads. Does it feel like it's hitting the target that feels appropriate for the park? And for a basic approval, so I can move forward with materials and making a date in Birmingham to start casting these.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge, or what do we need to do? What do we need to do?
I think approval.
Approval? Okay.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Howard, that we approve the Unity Park Art Project Plan. All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Motion carries forward.
Very good.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Amendment of the TIF Gary site.
Hi there. I am Christina Sugg on behalf of the developer. And I'm here on behalf of the developer to talk to y'all about the proposed amendment for the Gary Manufacturing redevelopment project. We are asking for an increase of the TIF to $4.25 million. And this really isn't much of a change for the county because the city is putting in the bulk of the money. But because this is an increase in the TIF capacity, we do ask the county's participation and support, and that y'all adopt the amendment. In exchange for this increase from $3 million to $4.25, the developer has also agreed to give up their claims to TIF bonds for 2 other projects, and I don't know if y'all are informed about that. One for the bulk of the Cooley Center, and the other for Middleton Marketplace. And the county was a participant in both of those. At the hearing, if y'all agree to set the hearing, I could have the exact savings to the county, but that removes about $4.1 million in TIF liability altogether for the city and county, and the developer's agreeing to give that up. So, I'm here to ask that y'all set a public hearing for the next board meeting, if it meets with your approval.
Motion for approval to move forward with the amendment of the Gary TIF plan, by Supervisor Trainer, second by
To
Supervisor.
have a public hearing next
Yes,
meeting.
ma'am.
For the approval, they got two motions. One to move forward with the amendment, that we agree with the
No,
amendment.
public hearing.
We're setting a hearing, and then after the hearing at the next
Yeah,
meeting.
public hearing gonna come next, so we're gonna motion for the public hearing. But
Yes, sir.
right now, we need to approve the amendment, accepting the amendment that's gonna be.
I'm gonna withdraw this because mine's for the public hearing. That's
I'm-
what's mine stated.
I might have misspoken. Technically today, what we need to do is ask for y'all to have a public hearing at the next meeting and authorize me or Ms. Emily, I'm happy to do it, to publish a notice. Then at the next hearing, at the next meeting, I would give y'all a resolution to approve the actual
Okay,
amendment.
okay. Can I get a motion then for a public hearing, that's on April the 5th, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a
board
motion.
meeting. Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Trainer, that we do have a public hearing and board meeting, all in favor?
If we have questions, who do we need to contact? You?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know if
I
my
know, I mean,
contact
I've got-
information is on there, on the
Okay.
front page of the TIP plan.
Okay.
You can email me or call me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
See y'all in 2 weeks.
That is a great plan. And I've had the opportunity to review the new Garrett building in the industrial park, and it's almost finished. So hopefully before long, they will be moving out and moving into our industrial park, and we can get the TIF plan initiated within that particular district. So, great plan. And the only, from what I understand, the only changes will be is that the city, with the city and not with the county, so we gonna stay the same.
Sounded like she said it might be a slight.
Some
increase for
changes,
the
yeah.
County, but the developer is willing to give up the TIF on a couple other projects, so.
Right. Most of the cities,
Yeah.
change. So move forward. Major Design Stereo, Mr. Ashby.
Well, Mr. Ashford is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I guess I need to.
I was gonna, while Mr. Ashford is coming before he gets started, the board has sort of talked a little bit and threw around the idea of maybe looking at a complex, for the county, which would be able to house, all the different departments that's in the county and look at the feasibility of it when it comes to maybe one huge complex as opposed to paying insurance and upkeep and utilities and stuff on all of these buildings that we're in. Okay. Because we know at some point, like over at the Justice Court complex, that's an old building, and at some point, the county is going to have to do something. So we just sort of thrown this around, but initially, we wanted to invite somebody, and at our last meeting, the board president asked us to go out, identify somebody that could come before the board, and we could sort of let you know what we're thinking, and you could tell us what your capabilities are, and we can sort of start from there.
Okay.
Well, we do have, well, first of all, thank y'all for the opportunity. And we do have a presentation that I have on this jump drive that we would like to kind of show you what we've done in the past and pretty much what we kind of do for you.
Okay.
Do I need to give a, how you put that down?
Yeah, I don't think there's a computer in there to put that into there. So we can hook up to the screen through this HDMI port. We really need a computer to run that.
Oh, we ain't got a computer?
I got one. I need to go get it. I wasn't sure.
Hey, Ron.
I need to get it. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't,
I
I'm
grabbed
sorry
it.
about that.
Alright, I'll be right there.
I think if you could just point it.
Well, they talking about cutting you off and using that computer.
Oh, everybody in the back, although we.
If y'all need to, I might can do both.
That's okay.
Let's then move forward, if it's okay with the board. We move forward next on the agenda for.
Supervisor Williams.
Trying to get you back to that lease.
We can come back to this.
Yeah,
I've got three things. First, we're requesting to do a budget modification on the FY21, which is what we're in grant year, to increase $5,000 on the seatbelt grant. If y'all approve.
Second.
And then the second thing is going to be applying for the FY22 seatbelt DUI grant, continued from years past.
Motion for approval on both grants.
Yeah,
Motion by Supervisor Trainer for approval for both grants, second by Supervisor Miller for approval for both grants. Is there any additional questions? Any questions? If not, all in favor?
Thank you, sir.
Carry forward. Thank you, Mr. Warren. Mr. Word.
Our president tonight is taking charge of it. He's rolling.
We'll wait for you to come up with next.
Huh?
Wait for you to come up with next.
She's gonna try to stay coming up.
Hey, they may all change for next year, you never know.
I hope it ain't close. It won't.
Can we go through county business?
Yeah.
Can we go through county business?
Now, go county business. We can do it quick, motion second, approve it all. Do a consent agenda.
What's Mr. Pritchard got?
Miss Livingston doesn't have any.
What Mr. Pritchard got?
She don't have any.
He got all this bridge, I know he got one more bridge on. Yeah, Mr. Pride, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mr. Pride, you up next. It gonna be pretty soon. Good evening.
Good evening,
sir. Yeah, just a couple of comments for you, all right?
We received bids this week for the bridge replacement on Hickory Grove Road. Miss Emily, did you distribute the bid tabulation?
No.
We ain't got big populations for the bridge,
I
have we?
emailed
Email.
y'all.
I've got a copy of the one state aid did, if y'all want to look at it.
No feedback?
Huh?
You got no feedback?
Yes. Who else? Anybody else? One more?
Need one more?
We're good.
I think he got one.
Supervisor Williams, sir, hold on.
If you have a motion.
Yep,
Everybody did?
I need one. You got one?
I got one.
And you.
Look at that.
Perfect.
4 bids were received. The low bidder was Cologne Construction, in the amount of $389,433. That exceeded the engineering estimate that we provided you in August 2020. Our estimate then was around $315,000. State aid came in with an estimate on bid day actually a little bit lower, $312,000. So we received the bids, state aid went back and evaluated them to see if there were anything in there that might have caused it to be up. The number one culprit in here is the cost of steel. Steel has gone up tremendously. So they came back, state aid revised their estimate, the preliminary estimate to $354. That puts the bid within 9.75%. And they have provided us a board order. Should you elect to award this, for this to be paid from LSP 200.
Motion, we move forward.
Second.
Can't go no further. Supervisor Howard, that we move forward on the, Hickory Grove Bridge. Any additional questions? Any questions? No
Here's
questions?
the actual order, and it sets up a project fund in the amount of $408,900. That includes your engineering, that includes 5% contingency, and the contract amount of $389.
408 what?
Sets up a project fund, Miss Emily, of $408,900. Okay, if I could get these signed by the president and the clerk, and you please, I'll get them back to state aid.
Is there ever change orders in that? You said project fund. I'm just asking. Is there ever change orders in bridges too? Like there is in other projects?
There's a possibility of a change order, but there's no change orders in this.
I understand that, but you said a project fund. That's the reason I was asking you if
The
there's a
project fund
possibility
has
of
a
a change order.
contingency of 5% for unknown latent conditions, potential change order, etc. 5%.
Our other friends must be tied up. They're ready to deal. Carson.
Is it?
Carson.
They did not bid on the box culvert. They had a lot of bridge work.
Oh, right. This one our first time we had, Cologne Construction.
They have bid with us before, but we have not awarded to them before. So this will be our first experience. They are certified contractors, they're on state aid, they've done work, all that was checked out prior to opening the bid.
Where are they from?
Ripley.
Where, Ripley?
Ripley area. Okay, along with that, just a couple other items, county road supervisor training, we've met with Full County, and we've also met with Casey. Full County has turned in a work order to move this hole, like we need, and, we got with Casey on, how to get this thing fit in. Poorhouse Road reclamation repair was sent to state aid this past week. There's a hard copy of the plans that were delivered to Emily here.
I got them.
Well, they were delivered to Miss Emily.
Yeah, well, she put them in my box. If anybody wants to see them, I got them.
Soil cement bid, Supervisor Williams, you asked, they were taken, we took bids last September. We ran late, September 10th. We only took those for 180 days, knowing we would be going back into another construction season. So to answer your question, it's probably time to advertise and get new prices for those, if that's what the board would like for us.
We really need to advertise in time, because last time we advertised late, and when we got the bid in place, it was too late to do any construction work.
Well, I know that our soil cement bid was higher than some of the counties that are right next door to ours too. So I'll get that information to y'all in an email, but it'd be interesting to see why our bid is higher and the county next to us, it's lower.
You need to evaluate
Also, the bidders for.
You need to evaluate those pretty close, because some of those bids vary with the width of the roadway, the amount of cement, whether you're taking up existing roadway. So just because it says soil cement doesn't mean it's apples and apples.
Can I get a motion to advertise for, soil treatment?
So moved.
A motion by, Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Trainer, that we advertise for soil treatment,
I could suggest when we issue those advertisements, we usually do things like striping and asphalt and hot mix and that. You wanna include the whole gamut.
What period are we gonna advertise for this time? Are we just gonna do 180? 180 days?
I think, personally, Miss Emily, I think if you ask something further out right
It's gonna
now,
cost
fuel
us more.
prices doing what they do, you're gonna pay a premium for doing that. I
So
think
this is just for this season.
basically this season, I'd do another 180 days, that way they, you know, they get a pretty good handle on what fuel is. If you go further out, they're gonna bump that
Yeah,
price.
okay.
And also, can we also include in the bid other stabilizers? You know, you mentioned about another product you want to use, and there are other things that I think we can tailor make that advertisement.
Well, I don't know that he can, it's not a stabilizer, though, it's a rock.
She, Burns had got some 1/4 block
It
that.
comes from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, that we have around the horse park.
That's true.
It sets up like concrete. We were gonna use it on some gravel roads, try it.
I say put all of it in.
Yeah, we can ask.
Put all of it. That way.
Might get a good.
Well, I mean, that's fine, I'm just
Yeah, that way
saying,
you
depends
wanna
on where
use
it's
it.
coming from too. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
you
was gonna
wanna
ask
use
for the
it.
roads I wanted to go ahead and use it with.
Are we asking for it as a material where we would haul it ourselves and put it down? Or are we asking for it to be contractor
Both ways.
done?
Like, let's put it down.
Yeah, cause I think it was just really a rock and when it got.
It
way
is,
down-
and all you do is spread it out, but once it gets sets up, it sets up like, it sets up, have y'all been out there and looked at it?
Is it used as a base or is it
Not-
used as the?
It's real
Issues.
similar to what we call size 16. It's a crusher roller that's got some dust in it, and it sets up.
Okay.
It works really nice, but you can go back and grade, we grade it all the time. You know, when it rains and stuff, if you need to grade it, you can grade it, it sets right back up, but you won't have, people won't have the dust like they do, and it'll be like they're on a,
Yeah,
it'll be more like a gravel, I mean, a paved road or a chip seal road, even actually better than that, because it's not as bumpy as that. It's a fine material. But anytime y'all want to come out there and look at it, just rain, come look and see how good it is at the horse park right now. But it's around the whole facility. So, but I want to try it. I've got a couple of roads that I was going to ask about trying it on. Right now, I know they haul it from Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I don't know where if there's anywhere any closer. And I was going to ask Mr. Baggett too. He's not here tonight. That if other trucks, you know, would we rather try to our trucks go over there and get enough in one day, or if we wanted to contract it through other trucks, just going and getting it, bringing it to us, and us just spreading it. What we did is we pulled the gravel back. And put that down. So see, you take that gravel and we just push that gravel somewhere else. We just pulled that gravel back, and it, you know, we haven't had to replace it or put any more in for years. It's been years. We did this year, but you're going to be amazed. I think it'll be a much cheaper, much more economical solution to some of our gravel roads that we want to enhance.
Let me ask you this, is it dependent upon how well it works as how well the base that you're putting it on?
It sets up.
You think you can just
It sets
move
up.
your gravel and put it on right?
It just
They've
sets up.
been using it for several years. It's not something new that's been used. It's just recently been.
Oh, no. Let's see.
Come out and look at it.
It's been, we just expanded it because it's such a good surface, and it's so much less expensive than, so much better than gravel, and it's so much less expensive than, you know, asphalt or something like that. So we've just expanded using it even on more surfaces because, you know, people walk on it, it's a firm, it's a drive on it, and it's getting a lot of traffic on it right now, but I'd love for y'all to come out and look at it. It works great. It really does. And I've got two little short roads I want to try it on. And then if we can, that will be one of the things, major things that I try to do with some of my 4-year road money, is take some of those longer roads that maybe because they are, we know we'll never be able to, not in a long time, pave them because they're going to cost so much, and pick some areas and do that. So, but.
Does that need to be stamped?
Probably should be.
You want to leave it with us and I get it to you
I'll
tomorrow?
get them tomorrow, be fine. Any other questions for me?
While Mr. Pritchard is here, I contacted him about setting a time. I've got a lot of people that live above the lake and below the lake that's calling me and asking me want updates and stuff. So I asked Mr. Pritchard if he could set a time to meet out there on the lake campus under that pavilion, and just give the people an update on where we're at and what we're doing. And I wanted to let the board know, so in case anybody wants to come out, doing that update, and, you're more than welcome to. I just want everybody to be aware of it, that we will be out there at some point here in the near future.
Yeah, we've not set a time yet. I've explained some about how my schedule's a little bit at mercy right now with some other deals, but, I'll be happy to when we put it together.
I've had a lot of people calling me. I've actually had some people call from Tennessee, said they were looking at buying some property up above the lake and building out there, and they just
They called my
on
office today.
Did they?
I don't know if we're gonna have a lake or not. So,
I just want to give them an update on where we're at.
Yeah, Mr. Clyde, thank you for, agreeing to, at least talking about a temporary construction easement
yes,
in the place of a regular 40-foot easement. Could you talk more about that? Could you replace some of that easement for three construction roads and have a temporary construction easement?
you posed the question of whether it was absolutely necessary to have full extended right-of-way for all of our projects. I think your roadway acceptance criteria has a minimum right-of-way that we ask everyone else to provide. But there's cases where we need to work outside that number, and that's where I suggested Supervisor Williams that we could do a temporary construction easement, get our work done, get back within our right-of-way and be done with it. Sometimes that's just laying a slope back, sometimes it might be an extension of a piece of pipe, it could be some riprap that we need in the ditch, but it's something that we wouldn't need permanent right-of-way to maintain.
This is going down through the small communities, and I don't think they need something like a big, large highway.
We actually did some of this work, if you remember, under your bond money, where we went into some of the smaller, tight areas with roads that twisted and turned and hills, and we just tried to fit what was like to get them done. Most of those have done pretty well.
The only drawback with all this is when utility companies want to come and put items in our right of way, we won't have the right of way to allow them to do it. They're gonna have to go to private property owners to lay the utility lines. So we're taking away the broadband, cabling, and that sort of stuff for the future.
Any other questions?
I appreciate all you do.
Okay, well, thank you. Could you get could you communicate with me a little bit more in regards to that?
Sure. Can I turn it down?
Yeah, when I talked to us about the temporary easement for the university and the purpose of it, and I think we had some questions about whose money was going to why do we need to sign that date and deal with it?
When we began work on Blackjack Road, we got a number of temporary easements and right-of-ways so we could construct the project. We've got one area that's essentially across from Helix. It's where they had some old houses right there on top of the hill that some of you seen the retaining wall. There's a small parking area right there that the utility companies, all of them essentially used as a staging area, a working area, and we got some damage to that parking. So we've got unit price for asphalt repair and stuff in the contract. We just can't spend that money up there to help repair the parking lot without a temporary easement to go up there and do it. So that's what I've asked for y'all to execute.
I believe we need a motion for approval on that temporary easement from Mississippi State. So, motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Howard, that we approve that temporary easement.
Correct.
With Mississippi State.
And just so y'all know how this works, I mean, this project, Blackjack is being administered by state. Well, you get unit prices on really hundreds of items, if you remember the bids in this contract. So, in the end, what you have is essentially a summary change order that says we added this to, we took that away, based on the unit prices we got, and you'll end up with a final project cost. Right now, it's very much to the good. You remember, the only official change order that we have right now on Blackjack was a deduct in the amount of $171,000. That we changed out the way we were building a retaining wall. So you saved $171,000 on the project, and you saved almost $24,000 on engineering fees. My fees went down with the project. So right now, you're to the good, so, you know, project's in good shape.
But we don't, I mean, what we're doing is we're taking county money and putting it on MSU property out there, but we don't know who did the damage for them to pay for it.
We know it was utility company related. We can't put our finger on an individual with C-Spire, Max South Broadband, Atmos Gas, Fort County. We just had everybody using this.
Okay, were we not supposed to be able to put our,
Well, it's just hard to watch them every second.
do we have an estimate what it's gonna cost to fix it?
John Weaver does, and again, this would come out of the project fund based on the unit price for asphalt that we have.
I just have one more observation, really. When you're going down Blackjack, and again, thank you for seeing that we upkeeping Blackjack Road for good passage.
We're trying.
I know it's a challenge.
In fact, you called about one last week, and I think we had that area repaired before the end of the day.
I think though the primary problem with that is that there's a water leak at that location. And every time you repair that, the water leak is so wet there, it floods out everything.
It is, and we've contacted Mr. J.D. Hardy, who's with facilities at MSU, and he's got folks assigned to that now. We've expressed our concern.
Yeah, I think once we fix that water leak, I think everything else will be okay with that.
And keep in mind too, all these repairs that we're doing on what we call the south side of the median, all that's gonna get ripped up when we put traffic on the north side, and the entire road bed's gonna get ripped up and built. So everything we do right now on that side is a temporary fix.
Did the utility from last week get in process to get moved?
Yes, thanks to our county attorney, Mr. Robertson. A lot of hard work on his part, but we got that done.
I did want to mention also, if we have a temporary easement we have to do in the future, don't consider what we're doing today on this particular one to be how we would probably do it in the future. This was something that we had to get this done as quickly as possible. Normally, this stuff has to be approved by IHL, and I don't want us to assume that it's this easy every time. So I do want to say that so that when this happens in the future or dealing with the university, we called in a lot of favors to get this done the way we did.
And Rob, if I'm not to be out of turn, but I think the only reason it happened because we had already been through the drill on the master project.
You're exactly right.
Had we done this out of the blue from scratch, we couldn't make it work. Okay? Anybody else?
We'll get together.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. Motion to acknowledge Mr. Fry's presentation.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Taylor, to acknowledge county engineer presentation. All in favor? Motion carries for. Okay, we got now back to Major Design Studio.
You found you another partner when you went out, huh?
Yeah, my partner here just made it back from Clarksdale. We were doing some work over there.
Okay. Supervisor Miller? We're about 45 minutes in.
All right.
I'm going to be driving.
Can you get that light switch behind you?
Yes, I'll stand over here. All right, well, again, first of all, we'd like to thank y'all. And again, my name is Ryan Ashford. Actually born and raised here in Chickasaw County. And my partner, Major Andrews, he's actually with me, and he's actually from Lowndes County. And we'll go ahead and run through the presentation for you here. Alright, so basically what you see here on the very front is just a few projects that we have. These two are actually a project over at Clarksdale, Kahoma Community College. We're actually doing a renovation of this classroom building. Matter of fact, that's where Major just came from today. We had a monthly meeting over there. Some of y'all may be familiar with this project. This is the Trotter Center over in Columbus. We did the renovations on that project. It's been a little while, 2 years, but we did do that renovation as well. And here's just a few brief things. We actually pulled a few projects for y'all to see. So we'll kind of show you that. We'll kind of just quickly run through some of the information about the firm and some of our employees. And then, of course, at the very end, we got references and a quick fast facts about MBS. These two projects right here, real quick. This project that we did out of Mississippi State, it was a bus wash project. So all of the buses that that basically run through Starkville actually goes through this bus wash before they leave campus. And then this is a project that we did over at MUW. We did a facility plant office for them. They actually had this existing building back here, but we added on to it. And we'll go into depth on that a little bit more. That's one of the projects we selected for you. Alright, so starting up here, Major actually got the company started back in 2013. And from there, once he got it started, I came on board with him in 2014. Some of the services that we provide, of course, architecture, planning, interior design, facility assessment, program management, construction management, landscape architect, and then building information modeling, which is part of the system that we use to do our projects in. Of course, our office is located in Columbus. Major is actually licensed architect, graduated from the University of Tennessee. He has 14 years of architecture experience and 14 years in construction. Myself, I'm an architect as well, graduated from Mississippi State. I got 24 years of architecture experience and 12 years in construction. And some of y'all probably know my dad, Herman Ashford. We did a lot of brick mason here, a long time ago, I guess you would say. And my uncles that we all kind of worked in, it was family business. And so some of the things about the firm, just real quick, we pride ourselves on our clients, making sure that we address all their questions and needs, to make sure that we give them a project that exceeds their needs. Some of the other things, our technology, we use Revit software, which is a 3D software that we use. Major, you can jump in whenever you want here.
That project there, that was actually where the what is it called, advanced collision building now, but when we originally did it back in 02, 03, it was actually a Kia dealership. And then we got to work on it again when they turned it into the advanced collision.
So it's the old Kia building down across from Walmart. We actually did that project when we were with our other previous firms. So we actually got a chance to work on that project as well.
So that's some of the 3D software that we use. You can see that's how it looked in the computer, and it's pretty much looks the same now. The actual building. That's the office area on the second floor overlooking the downstairs office. Right there at the stoplight.
And this was another project, Major, that you did.
That was for our firm when I was in Atlanta. That's a church out in Griffin, Georgia. It was 2,000 seat capacity. It was an addition to the existing facility where they had a small school and they needed a sanctuary space that was larger.
And then this was a project down in Laurel, where we did a new middle school. It was 108,000 square foot, middle school that we did down in Laurel. See what else? Other thing, just kind of noteworthy, we do have, professional liability insurance. We actually, occasionally have to do value engineering on projects depending on the needs or the client's, availability of funds. We also pride ourselves on the making sure that construction quality control is done, and then our capacity, pretty much Major and I will pretty much head everything up in the office and making sure everything runs well, make sure it stays within the budget, and make sure the client is happy, and we make sure they're aware of all the phases and make sure everything is moving forward on the project. This is just some additional things. Just be quick. We do quality management, code review, as well as our communication. We have really good communication with our clients, and that's something that I indicate to you, or I'll show you a little bit later on our fast facts. And then the client relationship, where our team approach, we basically sit down with the client and make sure we understand their needs. Direct involvement, even Major and I, most of the time we're actually involved on every aspect of the project. Continuity, we make sure that everything is working the way it should on every project. Communication, we make sure that the owner is aware of every facet of the project, and then the design and implementation. We make sure that everything that the client has said they wanted in the project, we make sure that we can accommodate those things in the budget and in the project. These are just a few projects here and I'll just kind of fast forward. Well, real quick, I'll just run through we've done re-roofing projects, renovation to the trotter. We've done work up in Okolona, did them a new field house. We did Happy Start project down in Noxubee, Holmes County. We did basically did work for the school district down there, help them upgrade their football field. And all of these numbers actually came in under budget. All of these projects came in under budget. Okolona, we did the HVAC upgrade. Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, we actually did a safe room for them. It actually came in under budget. Laurel Middle School, the one that I mentioned earlier, it came in under budget. MUW Physical Plant Office and Warehouse, it came in under budget. We did a project in Hattiesburg, the Hub Transit for the city of Hattiesburg. It came in under budget with all the alternates. We did a project over in West Tallahatchie, an HVAC upgrade project for the school district. It came in under budget. We did another project for Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, Head Start, 2 Head Start projects for them, and they came in under budget. And then we did the Curry Hall project over at Kahoma, and I don't know if you can see that, but it came in about $300,000 to $400,000 under the budget. And this was during COVID. This was actually last summer, I think, is when we did that project. It's under construction now. Another project for Kahoma student activity building, and it came in under budget as well. So we pride ourselves on making sure our projects come in under budget. Right here, I think Supervisor Howard mentioned to me about doing facility assessments on the front end, and these are just some projects that we had actually listed out to show where we've done assessments. We did Alcorn President House. We did an assessment on that. Alcorn Student Union, we actually went through that facility and kind of let them basically updated them on what needed to be fixed. We also did Alcorn Financial Service Center. It was a locker room project. On Kahoma, the Curry Hall project, which you showed to you a moment ago. Also at Kahoma, Whiteside Hall renovation, that's their science labs. Also Mississippi Valley State Aquatics, we actually went through and did a facility assessment on the aquatics facility over at Valley. and basically let them know what all needed to be fixed. Of course, they didn't have enough money to do everything, so they had to prioritize the list. Also at Jackson State, we've done a facility assessment for their roof, and so right now that project is under construction, or will be under construction. We just finished the contracts. Mississippi Valley, we did a study for them for their football locker room. We went through the existing locker room facility, let them know what needed to be updated, what needed to change. Also at Mississippi Valley, we looked at their dorms. At Mississippi State, we went through their police department and did a renovation for them. Mississippi University for Women, the physical plant office, we did the facility assessment of that. And then at Mississippi MUW Callaway Hall, we actually did a flooring project, went through, kind of showed them what all needed to be assessed on that. Also for their Expert Hall and their fine arts. And then K-12 schools, we've done assessments for Oklahoma, Kemper, West Tallahatchie, Columbus School District, Greenville, Cleveland, Laurel, Hines County, South Delta, Sunflower, Yazoo City, and Jackson Public Schools. We've done assessments for all of them. And then on the medical, we actually did assessment for Sharkey County Hospital over in Rolling Fork. That'll be one of the projects we're going to show you here shortly. Also in Laurel Family Health Clinic, we actually went through and did assessment for them, as well as their Waynesboro Family Clinic. Here, basically, just kind of our staff that we have. We have Major and I, and then we have Willie Moore, he's the project manager. We have Lakeisha, she's a draftsman. Then we have the interior designer. We have another designer, landscape architect, and then we actually use my dad to help us on the construction side as well as a construction administrator. Engineers that we use, we have used a range of engineers, but these are the two that we've had the most success with. Structure engineer, structural design group, as well as HE&A. We've utilized them for structure as well as mechanical, electrical, and engineering. These are just a couple of projects here.
This is a project down in Macon. This is a happy story. I think Mr. Williams is familiar with this project. It's on Highway 45, and it's a daycare, and she actually has a location here on 182 as well. And that second picture is Second Baptist Church, and that's what it was supposed to look like. And Peter's Rock, that's the one we just completed. That's Ryan's church there. And there we worked with Mr. Pritchard on that. He did civil for us. So we worked with Mr. Pritchard as well.
Alright, so here are the projects that we selected just to kind of take you through. This was basically we went through the selection process and was hired to do a project for Coahoma County Board of Supervisors. It was basically to build this 9,000 square foot FEMA dome facility for them. These are some of the pictures of what the interior ended up looking like. This is kind of what the 3D rendering actually did here. And the next slide.
We just want to know in comparison to ours what the cost was.
That's what we want to know. This
one came in at 1.8, 9,000 square feet.
Oh, man, you're not gonna see it.
Well, you guys had some other issues that came arose in yours. We actually used to work at JBHM, so we're kind of familiar with the process and some of the things.
Yeah. And that's kind of what the interior looked like. And we actually put these sound clouds in to help with the sound because we had the hard surfaces. We had actually...
I need some of that. I need to talk to you about it. Do you mind?
Just don't skip on past that. We don't want to look at it.
And of course, we work with Broadus. We work with Broadus and FEMA. So I think y'all had the same people on y'all's as well. All right. This is the next project that we selected where we did. MUW actually hired us to do we had to do 2 buildings for them. One was they had this existing shop building back here, And we wanted to, basically, at first they wanted to try to put a complete building here, but due to funds, we couldn't actually do the whole thing. So what we did, we actually got it where it's one-sided right now, where they can add on in the future once they get more money. They actually have a door right here. So at first we had a hallway, but then again, due to funding, we had to take the hallway out, but we basically gave them another door right here and a sidewalk down the side, basically right here, where they can add on later. But this is the floor plan of it right here, where it would have had a straight hallway down towards the other door, but we end up having to kind of chop it off right there due to funding. But the facility office is pretty much here, and then they got a conference room right here that they use for all their meetings and everything. And then this is actually, they wanted to do a warehouse building to house some of their stuff because their older building was dilapidated. It started to rain in it. And so what we did, they also mentioned, well, we got a florist on staff that we need to create a space for her. So we actually made a florist shop right here, and we actually put a bathroom and a cooler right here, and then she has stainless steel counters and shelving on this side, and then all the rest of it was pretty much storage. And so you'll see in the next slide, this is kind of what it looked like. There's that door right there. There's the door coming off the hallway, and then the main entry door, and then that's what it looked like on the front. And then here's that stainless steel counter, and then pretty much exposed polished concrete, and then that's what the outside of it looks like. Alright, the next project we did was for the city of Hattiesburg. This was the Hub Transit Facility down in Hattiesburg. Maybe I'm going to let you run through this one.
This is, we were called in and they got money through FCA to do some upgrades for ADA. And so what we went in doing is to upgrade the spaces with new finishes and make sure all the restrooms were ADA compliant, and we added showers and better services for their buses, because that's where they repair their buses at. So we put a oil change pit in there and everything like that. And so while we were in the design phase, that's when that storm came through. About 12,
15, 16.
Came through and then damaged the building, so we had to start back. We were only doing interior work, and we ended up taking down to the slab and coming back up with it. And so we, I guess it was a good bid period, so it did come in under budget. We got to do the whole building, and while we were doing the building, we noticed that we had some structural issues with this concrete slab, so we ended up taking the whole foundation out and starting over. And we still, I guess, doing the bid market, it came in at a good number, so we were able to get everything done that they needed, and we had some alternates that we had to get it back. And we actually added brick on there to meet the requirements of the city on the street side. Kind of ended up in a nicer building than what they had before. And that's when the storm hit it.
Yeah.
And that's the clear building at the bottom. We're actually, it was phase 2 upstairs where you see those 2 windows. It was just mechanicals and a shell, and now they've hired us to come back. They got some more funding, and we're working on that second floor. We're going to put the offices and the conference room up there now. And this is the shop area. This patch in the office.
And this is another project that we did for the Sharkey County Board of Supervisors. This was basically what we had to do is basically they had a certain amount of money that they had gotten through USDA, and so they wanted to come in and renovate the hospital. And what we had to do there before the renovations, they actually had lavatories, toilets, and then they had tubs in the hospital. And so they wanted to take those out to make them more ADA, make them to basically try to meet the Accessibility Act. And so that's what we did. And then they wanted to also upgrade the patient rooms as well. So this is one of the pictures of after we completed the renovations. This is where you have the toilet, and you actually have a pull down seat in the shower, and you could actually pull the curtain. So all of this is ceramic tile on the walls with a floor drain right there. So now it's more accessible for when you're in a wheelchair, and it's a lot better. And then I actually had to change out the toilet as well to make sure that it was at the correct height for ADA, for accessibility. And then this is what the lobby actually looked like. That picture was the original picture there, but then they had a counter here that was probably way up here that had storefront in it, but it wasn't accessible for ADA. So we actually took that out and actually put a new counter here where a person in a wheelchair could actually roll up and communicate with the receptionist if they wanted to check in. This area right here, actually they had I think it was like a 5-foot hallway down through there, and they had 2 smaller bathrooms that didn't meet ADA. So they had 2 smaller bathrooms that didn't meet ADA, and we took all of that out and opened that space up and made it more inviting lobby area, and then gave them one accessibility restroom right there. And then this is what the patient rooms actually look like. Where we actually put these wood panels up. We actually changed the window out. It was leaking in the windows. So we changed those out as well. And then we redid the floor and painted pretty much the hallways as well as the patient rooms.
How much more? Because we've got a supervisor that want to spend some time.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay.
I'm confident with your ability.
We'll speed it up. I think we're pretty much at the end of the project. Those are just some of the projects that we've done. We just kind of did a collage of them. Okay. Next slide. We'll keep going. Some of our references, if you need any references, we can give you those. We'll go on to real quick to the fast facts, which 75% of our clients are repeat since 2013. 70% of our clients actually receive credits back on their projects. So at the end of the project, we actually return money back to the client on 70% of our projects. And then from there, we just real quick, of course, we got 2 licensed contractors on staff. Major is actually a contractor, licensed contractor. We have 2 second-generation carpenters. Of course, Major is actually a carpenter as well, him and his dad. And then me and Dad, we're actually 2nd and 3rd generation brick masons. And so we just got experience that we feel that we can assist the county with. Are there any questions? Yes.
I would like to give you my cell phone number and talk to you. It doesn't have to be obviously during this meeting you're doing your presentation, but one of my questions is, this is professional services, correct?
Yes.
And my second question is, do y'all have experience if continuity of taking downtown and extending it, if we're trying to match ourselves into that? What I'm hearing you say is y'all got plenty of experience thinking on your feet and developing out of the box thinking sometimes.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
When I'd like to give you my cell phone number and call me, because this is a project that's near and dear to my heart. Not only am I a attorney, but this is just something that I would really like to try to help get something moving with this.
Okay.
Ready? Let me know.
Okay, we're ready.
662.
Okay.
418-2914.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
All right. Well, do y'all have any other questions for us, or?
Thank you, sir. I just would like to say you all got a wealth of experience and knowledge, very professional. What we're thinking more right now when I look is probably facilities assessment. Ms. Youngly would probably be the one that you really need to sit down and talk to.
Okay.
She could tell you exactly what's needed. Right now we're sort of wondering how much square footage is the county using right now to house all of the departments?
Okay.
What size building it would possibly take to house this, all of our departments? You know, I don't know how far into this you all go, if you even attach what we're spending right now on all of these facilities, as opposed to what we would spend on one complex.
Okay.
You know, putting all the funds toward one complex, possibly sell some of these other buildings. But anyway, I guess before we move forward, the board would probably want to know some fee schedules, you know, and this probably, I don't know if either one of us will even be here when this finally comes to fruition, but you know, we just looking at, you know, somewhere down the line, who's ever sitting in these chairs, we know somewhere in the future, up to our county.
Is that possibility? Rob,
Did we ever find out about Flex Steel? Is that still a possibility?
Hey, can you hear me, Rob?
The Flex Steel is
You're on mute.
pass.
Still a Flex Steel project in contention, but there hasn't been anything moved forward with it.
What is that?
we gave him
You said there's still a Flex Steel project in contention, but they're still trying to.
that we did an order for him to move forward and research
The possibility for that.
for the ownership of
That would be in a good
property.
location for us.
On that property.
As far as moving Justice Court over there, I'm sorry,
Come on, putting everything there.
Call me Rob.
So, I guess if the board chooses, the next step would have them to meet with Miss Emily and talk with her, to let her really know, fill in the details of what, and then you can give her what you think it'll cost to do this assessment. And then the board can move forward, if, you know.
That's a motion.
Yeah, I make that motion.
Supervisor Trainer motion that, Mr. Ashford and Mr. Major will meet with, the county administrator and talk about plans. Are there any additional questions? No more questions, all in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Let me say thank you guys for coming to, give us that presentation. Most of you are from construction company. You started off, probably with a hammer and laying bricks, I believe. So you know what construction is all about, and now you have the knowledge to put it on paper. So, thank you guys for coming.
Mr. Ashford's father and my father, rabbit hunted together, bird hunted together. He laid millions and millions of bricks. For my dad, alone,
Williams and my mom talked together.
What is the relationship to Vanessa?
Cousin.
I've seen some of his father's construction work too, Mr. Major. I've seen some of the work that his father has done.
What I'm impressed with is that you come in under budget. We've never had that in our small county.
I saw you first up with
That's kind of normal for us.
We
You
heard
know,
that.
so when that part does.
70% of his project.
I heard that.
We try
That's
to
a positive.
understand background construction. We try to make keep good relationships with the contractors we work with, and we call them up and they're, asking questions about numbers, and we try to keep that communication, because it takes a team, both the contractor, the architect, and all.
I think that's doable. We've had some projects, like our sidewalk project, that came in under because somebody was really paying attention to that, fine-tuning that. And, I think that definitely can be done, but that's impressive.
What I was impressed with, because a lot of times, farms, when you all work in phases with customers, they don't have all the funds like that one building. You all left the skeleton work there, so when they come back to add that up, everything is already set. So that's impressive. That's impressive. That's working with the customer, knowing their needs, knowing their budgets, and knowing how they can eventually achieve where they're trying to get to. That is impressive. Say what, Rob?
Working with hometown folks.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, you got Miss Emily's?
Yes, we got a contact.
All right.
Look forward to hearing from y'all.
Yes, ma'am, we thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. There's a motion for approval to acknowledge.
So move.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Miller, that we acknowledge, presentation coming from Mr. Major and Mr. Acker. In addition, questions? Them all in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Now, business administration.
Background changes.
So moved.
Oh, you just mentioned that.
Motion by Supervisor Davis, second by Supervisor Miller, that we approve payroll dates. That's all of them. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
That's about it. Next thing I have is our, property insurance, general liability and everything comes up for renewal April 1. I need an order to allow us to renew our property insurance with Basics liability insurance.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Howard, that we review the liability insurance. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
Yeah. Got 2 bus turnarounds, one for Robert Jordan at 153 County Line Road, and one for Pauline Bell at 106 Tooney Lane.
I see the pictures in here for the county line, right? Is that one, are they in there?
That's actually County Lake Road.
County
That's
Lake?
the County Lake Road, yeah.
County Lake Road.
Yeah, Mr. Bagger called me, he was going to look at it. He said, I've been all up and down County Line Road, I can't find it. I see you on the wrong road.
But I'm just saying, in our packs, we don't have the information for.
Well, there
we
was
have this
one
for
from last, it was from last time too.
Yeah, but county line was the one from last time, not the.
But he said it's County
Tooney
Lake.
County Lake, not county line. I know, but what I'm telling you is we've never seen the stuff on Tooney Lane.
It's new for this board
Yeah, this one
meeting.
is new.
Well,
And
we need
county-
to have, where's the pictures? Oh, I don't guess I have that one. Okay.
And, Mr. Baggett said he went out and looked
Oh,
at
never mind, I
both of
didn't.
them.
I missed it. Okay.
Went out and looked at both of them, and it's not gonna take much money, probably 10 yards of washed gravel between the 2 of them.
And the motion for approval of, bus turnaround, bus turnaround. Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Howard. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0 on the bus turnaround.
We've had several budget amendments in the packet for the sheriff's department, and it's, various items from grant proceeds and insurance proceeds coming in.
Make a motion.
Motion for approval for all 5, I believe. Budget amendment for the sheriff's department by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Howard. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
Need to advertise for the light bars and other equipment, radios, and for the new sheriff vehicles that's on order.
Motion for approval by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Howard, that we advertise. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
We've already done the next one.
We did number 7, number 6 is still in here. MSU right-of-way water line easement under Blackjack Road, I need an order approving that.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Miller, that we approve the easement, Blackjack Road. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
I have received, and I think I forwarded it to y'all from Lydia Quarles, a contract with MSU for the, services that they were gonna provide to youth court. And I think she's wanting to come to the next meeting, but I needed for Rob to look over that contract before I put her on the agenda.
Hey, I looked at that, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I find it hard to believe that the budget is what it is. I think that we need to look at that a little closer on that end.
And that's all I.
I think it's a great idea, and I'm all in favor of us trying to.
I move we move forward. We got a major dilemma with you in our city and county.
Agreed.
And if you don't know, you better ask somebody.
That's right. No, it's fine.
Are we moving forward with me having her come or with the contract?
It's already been agreed.
I say move forward
upon.
with the contract.
It's already been agreed upon starting in the 1st of April, I believe, and from 2021 it goes around to 2022, already agreed.
Right.
Yes.
I agree with supervisor training, but I also like to listen to the advice by board attorney. He found there's something in there that he wanted to discuss with us about.
Well, and I think too that all of us need to be here to hear it, maybe, if we can. But I know that there is an issue.
Yeah, we got a major
there's-
issue. No doubt about it. But maybe, I mean, Rob, you planning on addressing this at the next meeting, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I do think we need to get on this. I'm just concerned the budget is maybe not enough.
Okay, all right.
Well, that's good then.
Okay.
We're gonna do it.
Thank you.
We're gonna do it right.
Appreciate it.
We'll bring it up, I'll bring it up to the next board meeting.
So I think we'll get a second on Supervisor Trainer motion, so I think a motion will be appropriate for Attorney Roberts to review the contract and then address the board.
Have Miss Lydia come address the board, is that what too? See,
Both
you
is
fine. I mean,
Yeah.
Both of them.
Okay. Yeah.
You got a motion to have both of them review the contract and then come back and address the board.
Okay.
I think, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, you've already reviewed the contract, you just wanted to talk with us about the budget, correct?
We can't hear what
We
he's
can't-
saying.
we can't
He
hear.
did thumbs up when I said what I said a minute ago.
You're muted,
Tell me.
Rob.
Okay, let's see what I got.
You have to watch when you put it up to your ear.
I'm sorry. I'm muting everything.
yeah, he don't want you to hear all that background noise. Hey, we trying to get the done too, you know.
Rob, we need to get together so we can decide if this is gonna be at this final stage before I get the board to sign it.
I think that would be smart.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Yes, we need a motion on that.
I thought I did.
Yeah, okay. Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any questions about the motion? If not, all in favor?
New contract and Mrs. Ford, I'm before the board.
Right.
Can I run through my things real quick?
Attorney Roberts.
Okay, in your pack, you saw a picture of the Sturgis parking lot. That's behind the post office and their county courthouse and the library. They're asking that we go in and work on that parking lot. They had a leak and they went in there and tore the parking lot up, and so they need us to go in and grade it and gravel it and get it back where they can park behind it. I need a motion for approval on that.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Supervisor Trainer. Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Trainer. So we do the work on the parking lot. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries forward.
In your pack, there's some pictures of a concrete culvert and some ends. They're located in that storage facility across from Interstate Battery on Industrial Park Road. That's 2 buildings down from the central shop. They are wanting, Rodney Lincoln runs that, and they're wanting to give those concrete culverts to us and the ends, if we can use them, I'd like board permission for Mr. Baggett to go and look at them, if that's something that we could use somewhere for the county to pick them up and move them, accept them and move them to the central shop. There'll be no cost to us.
So move, we can always use them timber cutters. They wanna get across the ditch, that's something we can put in the ditch.
Train us up in about an hour, that we allow Mr. Baggett to review those concrete covers and see whether or not they can be of use for us.
And if they are, pick them up, take them to the central shop. They want them moved.
If we want to move, okay.
Think about using them.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Riding wanted me to let y'all know that he's retiring from Mississippi State University. And you know, during that short period of time, just like us, he had to have somebody, his board appointed somebody to take his position at the airport board. That will be a temporary thing. And then he will move back to his position, and that person will move to, there's somebody else in that office that's leaving, so that person will move into that position. He also wanted me to let you know that their last report that they did, a compliance report, they scored 100 on it, and they've never done that before. So he wanted me to let y'all know that. And then I just wanted to share some other just state news, if you did or didn't know this, that Mississippi's graduations rate has surpassed the national average for the first time when we were in the rear. I don't know if y'all had read that, but I did want to share that with y'all if y'all didn't know that. That's all I have.
Did Mr. Lincoln say anything about this Grady Wilson appointment?
I didn't say, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
Or do we need to reappoint?
Yeah.
So
Wants to be
moved.
reappointed.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Howard, that we reappoint Mr. Grady Wilson to the airport board. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Motion carries 4-0.
I had one more thing.
We got some motion from you, you have to do some things, I don't know what we did. Motion.
No, I was just telling you the Mississippi graduation rate for the first time has surpassed the national average. I don't know if y'all have read that. I guess the stuff's just coming in, and where we were near the bottom. So that's since we have a lot to do with schools too. I just thought I'd share that. I did have one other thing on the Miss Emily's position. I've had a couple of department heads ask me could they be involved in maybe reviewing the applications too, and everybody picking their top 3 or 4 and going ahead and sending those in. I know we need to move forward and pick our top however many tonight. We need to decide on that because Miss Emily needs to be able to do background checks and everything else, and we need to start the process. So can we decide tonight how many out of that group we're going to pick? And then, like I said, some of the department heads asked could they be somehow involved because they're going to be working with this person.
But how would they be? I mean, I guess I'm wondering what involvement would they want?
They wanted to. Some of them wanted to look through the applicants and submit 4 or 5 too that they thought.
Be honest with you, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. That's a board.
That's fine. They just asked because they work with the county administrator.
Yeah,
and some of these are elected officials, and different things. So
I understand, but
okay.
I'm just one supervisor now, but that's just me.
Well, can we decide on a date to have and how many we need to submit in our first cut? I think we need to do that tonight. I know Supervisor Montgomery's not here, but I'd like to say, okay, within 2 weeks, we need to submit to Miss Emily. Do we want to say 5 apiece and start a little higher and then come down to maybe our top 3 or?
That's how we normally do it. Just
either 5 or 7.
I say 3. My motion is 3.
Like last time we called in 5.
Yeah, and then
one walked away, probably just they were here.
I like 7 because I saw some in there that I would like to at least talk to. But I have to medium 5 would be fine with me.
Well, this is a very important position. So
and I don't want us to think that we're rushed either. Miss Emily said she would stay, or prolong her retirement if we do not find the right person. But I do think that there's a pool in there. But extensive background checks and those types of things are important too. And you know, once we get to those 5, Miss Emily can go ahead and do that, and then we'll kind of know when we get to the interview process if we even want to interview those based off of what the background checks and things say. So they tell you a lot.
I'm good with 5 or 7, so it doesn't matter with me.
Can we say within the next board meeting that we submitted our, how many choices?
We before the next board meeting.
Yeah, before.
We can submit those in time, I would think.
Yeah, yes. That gives us 2 weeks. So before the next board meeting, submit, do y'all want to say 5 or 7, Miss Emily?
I said 3.
I say
3.
Give me the motion. Let's do a motion.
Well, I mean, no need
Well,
to
they're
do a
having-
motion.
they're having-
If I was on about saying 3.
I think, I believe we need more than 3, I believe.
You really could bring in 1 apiece. I mean, 5 was it. That's 5 people. You know, if you want to interview 5 people, I'm just using that for example, but you got how many applicants? 24?
Well, what we can do, if everybody gives me 5 names, we're
And then
gonna
some of the
pick-
names gonna be the same.
Some of the names are gonna be the same,
Pick
and
your-
so, and if I
how
get
many-
confused, I'll put the catch off.
Well, let me ask you this, how many do we need to submit in order to get the top 5?
well, I don't think we need to submit any more than 5 myself. I think I could go through and pick 3 or 4 myself, but,
Yeah.
you know, but,
if
and
we
everybody
want 5,
submits that.
But I'm saying if we want 5,
Okay.
and we submit, and we only come up with 4 out of
Okay,
it.
out of this top 5, if we're saying we're gonna interview 5, then what you're saying that we probably might need to submit more than 5.
To get the top 5.
I see what you're saying.
That's what I was thinking. I think we need to submit at least 7. I'm looking through those applicants.
To get top,
there
to
are
get
at
5.
least 7
Out
that
of the 5.
and I'm not saying that we select any of those 7, but there are 7 that are kind of outstanding that I would like to at least talk to.
Okay, so we're gonna submit 7 and we're going to interview, right now interview 5.
Well, I think everybody before the next board meeting needs to, I guess if you want to go with 7, submits their top 7. If they have 7 names, I don't think, if we don't have 7, we don't have to put 7 out there.
Right.
And then, based off the number of points like we do before, that would get us to those top people that we think needs to be interviewed.
Right.
And then we move forward on background checks, and then we decide out of that who we're going to start interviewing. Does that sound like a good process to everybody?
I think that, well, I mean, we started that process when we hired, it's been couple of terms. I know we did with Miss Emily and you know, a couple of others. So that's process we pretty much use. We just hadn't been doing the background checks
We
at
did the
that point
background,
until.
we did the background checks on the county administrators, because what we did after we decided who we were gonna interview.
Right.
All of those applicant copies were made and given to the sheriff's department, and they ran the background checks.
That's right. Once we identified the top, okay.
That's what, and that way you'll know.
Whether they tell
Whether
a
they
story or
qualify,
not
yeah.
telling a story and all that.
Have they filled out the application?
Excuse me?
Have they filled out the
They
application?
have not filled an application, but it was in the advertisement.
How are you gonna do a background check?
The
without having
advertisement
information?
said that they
They
would be
would-
subject to a background check.
But you still have to do an application to get the information you need for the background check.
No, we have their information, their social security number from their transcripts.
You should. Without them giving it to you.
They gave it to me when they got their transcripts.
So you have all that personal
You
information?
had that information.
I thought all that was in that.
Let me ask, was there a consent form in the?
Well, the thing said that.
The advertisement
said
said
that.
that all applicants would have to submit to a background check. You do not apply unless you're gonna be willing for the background check.
Okay.
Okay, so I made a motion then.
Your motion that we submit 7
If you have 7,
possibilities.
if you have 7,
If
to
you
Miss
have
Emily.
7,
Right.
if you have 7, submit those.
Up to 7,
Up to 7.
before the next meeting, so we can begin the process.
Before the next board meeting. Second motion by Supervisor
Second.
Miller, second by Supervisor Howard. Any questions?
And the first 5 is what we're looking at.
Yes.
All in favor?
I'm gonna propose that, that's just too many people. Don't take up that.
Well, I'm not gonna say, but probably three, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, they gonna
And see what happens is the more folks you interview, you got to realize that you got to give each one of those individuals your undivided effort. And the more folks you get, somebody's not gonna get it, because especially you trying to line them up in one day and all that kind of stuff. To me, that's just, you need to have your process at least, I would say, interview no more than 3 people.
Well, we might end up interviewing no more than 3 because some of those that we submitted don't cancel out.
Well, as soon as
Because
they realize,
you and I might submit the same.
Oh, I understand that, I understand.
as soon as they realize that they're gonna be interviewed in an open board meeting with the public, they might follow. One fell out the last time.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it.
Well, I agree with you, it doesn't need to be but, you know, normally that's how the process does, is somebody puts an application and, you know, the applications are screened before they even, to make sure that they're even qualifying, and then they come and then you do first and second interviews. I think that would be a good way to do it. It's not just, you know, if we need to do 2 interviews, we can.
We don't wanna rush through it.
But we can't get with one person.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't have one person. That's absolutely. It don't take, you know,
What'd you say?
this a motion that we stand adjourned.
Oh, I got, whoa. I got,
This is during the period of accountability, supervisor.
okay. I think you've been already, right? You got yours, okay. Maven, sort of same deal as Sturgis. And I think I mentioned to you all before that couple of guys started a furniture making business in Maven. Started with them and one machine. Now they got about 30 employees up there. One of them is actually ex-sheriff's grandson, Sheriff Don Bryan's grandson. But anyway, those 2 guys work hard and they're growing this thing. But anyway, there's an access road that goes around behind the old Monty Glove. And they need some work there because as their trucks turn in, they're starting to get stuck and eat up the roadway. I had Mr. Bagley go up and take a look at it. He said it'll take clay gravel $156, wash gravel $145, 118 by 30 foot culvert $177, 2 men 4 to 6 hours to get it done. So I'd like the board to approve that they do this work up there in Maven on that.
Are you saying something? Is he saying something? We can't hear it.
Turn it off.
This is a public road, correct?
Yeah, this is owned by the town of Maven.
What is the road name? Does it have a name?
It's the Monty Glove factory, right there, owned by the town of Maven, is what it
Public
is.
road.
Yeah.
It's a county road.
Yeah, it's not a county road, it's public property. Yeah. That's what it is.
It is public property.
Oh yeah, it's owned by the town of Macon. Sort of like what we just did with Sturgis in the library.
Okay, we're good. I'm just making sure I'm on track with y'all.
Yeah, I made sure of that.
Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Trainer, that we offer service on that road. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries forward.
That's all I've got.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything either. So move.
That,
And adjourn to the fifth, Y'all have a good evening.
Miss Emily, I want to get you my wish list for
Thanks, everybody.
thank you, Rob.